This overview video is the first in a series of videos about effects in Final Cut. This is an extensive view of audio and video effects, so check the description below so that you can jump to particular parts of the video that are of interest to you. The video is going to be a reference resource for you to come back to in the future, so save it to one of your playlists so you can come back to it when you need to be reminded about particular things. Final Cut labels many things under the effects category, both audio correction and color correction, as well as plugins in your effects browser. There are both free ones and paid ones that you can download and add those to the already built-in ones from Apple. The videos in this series are going to cover much more than just this overview video does, so look in the eye above for information about links to those other videos. You will see how to add effects and how to remove effects from a single clip or from multiple clips. You'll also see how to remove just a selection of effects and leave the others in place. I'll also tell you where to find the plugins that you can add to your effects browser, including a list of over 1,000 free plugins. You'll also in this video see how to create a favorites folder in your effects browser so that you can add your frequently used plugins and access them easily. And finally, I'll show you what to do when your plugins go missing, and also how you can move them from one computer to another. I'm Bruce McBride. My goal is to improve your knowledge and to speed up your workflow in Final Cut. YouTube is a great place to learn Final Cut, but you don't always get your questions answered as you are thinking about them. I can provide you one-on-one tuition. Click the link in the description below. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and press the bell. Effects are added to clips in the timeline, so that makes them different from titles and generators, because generators and titles can have effects added to them as well. Final Cut labels many different things as effects. They can include plugins in the effects browser, or they can appear as built-in effects in the inspector. First of all, let's look at the effects built into the inspector, and then we'll look at the effects browser where the plugins are stored. Select a clip in the timeline and look in the inspector. First select the video tab. It's the film strip icon and it turns blue when you select it. Here you'll see the built-in effects, transform, crop, distort, and also stabilization and rolling shutter. Now you'll notice that transform, crop and distort are ticked, but stabilization and rolling shutter aren't. If you hover over the transform and look to the right, you'll see show tab, and when you click that, you'll see the content of how you can adjust that particular effect that's on their clip. You can see now you can hide it again, and also there's the curly arrow that will return any of the settings that are in here to the default setting. And the same thing applies to the crop and the distort. It also has a show as well. Now, as I said, stabilization and rolling shutter are not selected by default. And to know more about stabilization, click the eye above. You'll also notice beside each of the selections that you have within Transform, Crop and Distort that there are keyframe selections. Keyframes are added when you select this diamond. And to see the video about keyframes, select the eye above. The curly arrow will undo any of your changes and reset to the default setting. The curly arrow is found right throughout the inspector and is always at this far right location. Now let's have a look at the audio effects that are built into the inspector. When you select the speaker icon and it turns blue, these are the audio effects that are built into Final Cut's inspector. To show the content of the enhancements, go to the show as you would do in the video selections, and this exposes all of the built-in audio effects. And you can see equalization here, and you can select these different options under equalization. You'll notice that they're all turned off by default. If you select the little square icon to the right, you'll bring up the graphic equalizer where you can make adjustments. When you click in here, you can see those previous choices. If you want to see what a hum reduction looks like in the graphic equalizer, you can see that the 64 Hz has been reduced. And this is a great place to learn what frequencies are affected by enhancing music, for instance, or what frequencies are affected when you reduce the bass. You can close the graphic equalizer by pressing the red X. Now let's look at audio analysis, and you'll see here it's not analyzed because we didn't ask for audio analyzing when we imported the clip, and you can do that in your import window. If you want to analyze it, you can press the magic wand here, and that will go through an automatic analyzation of what is in this clip here, and you can see the ones that it's corrected by the green ticks. You can turn off the auto analyzing by clicking the curly arrow. It'll now tell you where it thinks it has problems with the yellow warning mark, and this clip will have a lot of wind noise because it's out on the harbour. And so it stands to reason that there will be a lot of background noise. If we look at a clip that's not been analysed, let's go through the other options like loudness. And what loudness does, it boosts the volume of the lower sounds without overly increasing the higher volume sounds. But use it with caution, don't increase the amount too much, and use the uniformity slider to try and balance things out. So if we now look at noise removal, and what this does, it tries to remove repetitive background noises. It'll not work well for sharp sounds that happen quickly, but it's good for those continuous sounds like traffic noise, but not for a police car siren. And finally, hum removal. And hum removal removes electrical hums, and it's set for 60 or 50 Hertz. So if you're in the USA, you would have it set at 60 Hertz, and most other countries and PAL type countries, Europe and Australasia, it'll be 50 Hertz. And it's worth noting, effects can only be added to clips in the timeline. Footage in the Clips browser cannot have effects added to them, except for the built-in audio from the inspector. And if we select this clip here and we increase the volume, you can see that the volume level is being increased in the browser. And if you go to the loudness, then you can see that is being affected from the inspector as well. And you'll notice that when you select a clip in the browser and go to the Film Strip Video tab, there are no effects showing there for you to make changes to them. So back to the timeline, and let's now look at the other built-in effects that come under the color selection. Now when you click on this here, it multicolors to show that it's active. Here you can see your controls for color correction as wheels, or you can also see the color board, color curves, and hue and saturation. Click the eye above to go to a video playlist that discusses color correction. So that's looked at the inspector's built-in effects. You also have effects in your effects browser, and this is turned on with this button here, and it's made up of two panels. The left-hand panel shows you the index, so you can look at all of the basics that are now showing in the right-hand panel. If you select on blur, then you get the blurs in the right-hand panel. I should mention at this point that the effects that you have in the effects tab are different to transitions that you have in the transitions tab. Effects are used within a clip, And transitions are used at an edit point, so that if I take a transition here and drag it over, it won't sit in the clip. It needs to go to an edit point. The index is made up of both a video subheading and an audio subheading. When you select all in the video index, then you see all of the video effects in the right-hand panel. And when you go to audio and select all below audio, you see all of the audio effects in the right-hand panel. At the very bottom, you have a search button. So if I type in here mag, then it takes me to the image mask, MAG, or magnifier, MAG. To clear the search, press the X. When you right-click on a video effect, you can make it the default plugin. And you would do this to an effect that you want to use more frequently. And you can also do this to video effects that you've created as a preset. Click the eye above, which will take you to a video about how to set presets. So how do we put an effect on our clip? We can simply take the effect and drag it on top of the clip. And we've added a video effect of hard light to that clip. When we go to the inspector and click video, we can see that the hard light is now available there, and we can increase or decrease the effect. And we could also add keyframes, as we mentioned earlier. And you can turn that effect on and off by clicking the blue tick mark. And if you want to remove the effect so that you can't see it in the inspector, click the dark line at the top, and then that will put a yellow outline around that particular effect, and then your delete key will remove that. You can remove multiple effects by using the command key. There's the first one, second one with the command key down, third one with the command key down. Now you'll notice that the three have yellow outlines around them, so when you press the delete key, all three are removed. You can remove some or all of the effects from a clip in the timeline, or from multiple clips in the timeline, by going to the edit menu and selecting remove effects to take everything out, and remove attributes to choose which of the effects you want to remove. There's a video on this, click the eye above. So where do you find these plugins? There are hundreds of companies that make Final Cut plugins. Just search Google and it will bring a list of the paid plugins. There are also hundreds of places where you can get free plugins. And don't be fooled, some of these free plugins are world-class and very useful. And the link to the free plugins is in the description below. And most plugins that you download, free and paid, will come with an installer that will put them in your system for you. And they'll go in a folder that will appear in your index. So if these ones have been downloaded here, and you can see they have their own folder, and that shows them separately in the right-hand panel. Now, some plugins will in fact require you to add them manually. I'll show you where most non-Apple plugins live, and they're in the Movies folder inside your Users folder. So you want to go to the Go menu at the top of the menu bar when you're in the Finder, and select Computer, and then this will take you to all of the hard disks on your computer. The Final Cut plugins are kept in the internal drive, and they're in the Users folder, and they're under the name of that folder. They're in the Movies folder, and if you look inside the Movies folder, you will see motion templates, and the effects, generators, titles, and transitions are all kept in this location. So we can open the effects, and we can see the effects in there that we have in our effects browser within Final Cut. So there's Andy's effects, and there's Andy's effects there. So this is where you would put the folder after you've downloaded it from the internet. And so you will have a folder from Andy, and inside that there are the various different plugins that are in his folder. So if we look in the blur one here, we can look for channel blur, and if we look over here, we will see channel blur showing there. These other effects are Apple built-in effects, and they don't show in the Finder window. They're in a separate location in your system folder where you don't have access to them. So while we're in the Finder here, let's look at where we would put our favorites folder and have this appear in your Final Cut Effects index so that you can quickly access those favorites. If you open your effects, and you can see here I already have a favorites folder, but to create one, you would want to select the effect, double click it so we have it in its own window, and we'll come to the File menu and we'll create a new folder and we'll call it Fave 2. And if we look in it, it's got nothing in it. But should we want to put the Stabilize Only effect in there, we can drag that into the Favorites 2 folder. And then if we go back to Favorites, you'll see that it's been moved. If you want to, you can have it in both locations by selecting the Option key and dragging it. That will create a copy. Or you can right-click on it and create an alias and then put the alias in the other folder. So now there's only one original, and this alias here is pointing to that original in this folder. And you can also remove these folders if you don't want them to appear in your effects index. So if I don't want this one anymore, I can just simply trash it and it will be removed from the Final Cuts folder. You can also use this method of creating and removing effects if you want to move the effects to another computer, or if you're missing an effect, you could go and find them in your backup and then drag them back to your effects folder that's inside your movies folder in the users folder. Be aware that if you have paid plugin effects, then these will not transfer without an appropriate license. This has been a comprehensive overview of effects in Final Cut. I've tried to keep it condensed, but it's turned out to be a lot longer than I expected. So don't forget to go into the description below and look in the timestamps to go to the particular parts of the video that are of interest to you. You can also click on the eye above, which will take you to those detailed videos about things that we looked at in the overview. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and press the bell. There are new videos every Sunday.